So basically when talking about blood, there are two main ways of talking about it in my opinion, which are approximate amounts of blood gain and drain and mathematical amounts. And to understand that, we first of all have to understand how the blood gauge works. So the blood gauge has 300 blood points that can be added to it until we pop. So here, for example, we exceeded that 300 blood points, and there are 4 moves that add to those blood points, which are Clone, Spin, 6-3H, and Fukyo. And 6-3H, Spin, and Clone all add the same amount of blood points, which are 90, or about a bar of blood, as you can see here. And Fukyo adds 43 blood points, or a little less than half a bar, as you can see. Now there are multiple moves that drain blood, and I would like to go over those one by one. But before doing so, we have to understand how drain works overall. So, as said earlier, there are multiple moves that drain blood, and the blood drain occurs over 6 seconds. Besides for one special move, which is Bite, which I will go over in the end. And now let's go over the moves that drain blood one by one. Also, there are moves that drain blood on hit and block, which I forgot to say. So now let's start. The moves I would like to start with is 2S, which drains a very insignificant amount of blood, which is 7 blood points, so a lot less than a special uses, but it's still notable, I feel like. The same goes for JS and JD, both tools that are used a very little amount, but they drain the same than 2S does, so minus 7 blood points. Next, let's go over all the H normals, so JH, 2H, 6H, and 5H. They all drain on block and hit. On block, they drain a very little amount. They drain the same amount of blood that 2S, JS, and JD do on hit, so minus 7 on block. And on hit, they drain a more notable amount, which is minus 57. My bad. As you can see here, they drain about half a bar over the amount of 6 seconds. Now to go over the most significant blood drain move on hit, which is far / in my opinion. It also drains on both block and hit, and on hit it drains 130 overall. So let's show that real quick. Or a little less than 1.5 bars. And it also drains on block, and it drains a very significant amount of block, which is very important to its overall use. As you can see here, it drains minus 64 on block, which is over half a bar, which is a very big amount of blood. So if you're a Nago, you can just kind of do something like this and just continue pressure afterwards and almost get an entire blood move back, which is very, very strong. Next move I want to talk about is Super, which is your most important combo ender for draining blood. It drains 194 blood, so almost 2 bars, and gives it a good knockdown, so you almost always use it to break wall. And the last move I want to talk about that is a little more complicated is Bite. And the special part about Bite is that instead of draining blood for 6 seconds, it drains blood for 3 seconds. And it drains blood that isn't even there yet. I'm gonna elaborate on that in a second, but for now I wanna show how much it drains. It drains minus 280 blood, so almost the entire blood bar, but not the entire blood bar as a lot of people falsely think. And the cool part about Bite is, if you bite on low blood, it drains blood that isn't even there. So for example, I just did this, and I did not pop. And if I would not have bitten him before, I would have popped for sure. So let's show without bite. I immediately pop, as you can see. So what we have to understand for that is, imagine bite draining minus 280 while we are on 0 over the period of 3 seconds. So we hit the bite, and as you can see, the bite still continues. And that basically means that we are able to spend those 200 blood points we are gaining from the bite extra. So we have 3 bars, 3 because we hit the bar, we hit the bite while we were on 0 blood bar, on 0 blood. But because bite still continues draining, even though there is no blood, we have extra blood to spend, which is invisible blood, as I usually like to call it. So as you can see here. Wait, what am I doing? We can spend a lot more blood than we would usually be able to. Just for a stupid example, we are on 2 blood because we spent, let's add it up real quick. We did 90, 80, 280, 270. My math sucks. Give me a second. 90, 80, 270, 360, 450. But because we still had those minus 280 from the bite, we still did not pop, even though we spent 450 out of 300 blood. I hope I was able to explain that concept decently, at least, because it's kind of hard to put into words. And yeah, I hope this guide was semi-helpful. And thanks for watching.